Welcome, dear friends. Today, Nishant, Secretary, Healthcare Division CAHO, will introduce our lead speaker and moderator, Mr. Prashant. So, over to Nishant.
Sir, thank you so much. And it's my privilege to introduce Mr. Prashant. Uh, Mr. Prashant Hoskote is President Global Engagements at Striking Ideas LLC. He heads the global role to engage with C-suite and bring Striking Ideas unique capabilities to propel progress for business enterprise and clients worldwide. He has a track record of engaging in advisory services in business excellence, business process management, innovation management, along with digital transformation, Six Sigma, Jurans, problem-solving methodology, and much more. As Senior Director, Quality, Service Excellence, and Innovation for the Max Group, Prashant integrated strategic quality, customer experience, excellence, and innovation agenda for Max Group companies serving enterprises worldwide. His experience in guiding and providing thought leadership at Max Healthcare, as well as other healthcare organizations, in his earlier consulting stint, such as Aga Khan Hospital, Gopi Krishna Piramal Hospital, etc., enables him to engage with healthcare organizations very effectively in both service excellence and in clinical excellence space. He has over 30 years of expertise in quality, excellence, and customer experience domain. Prior to Max, Prashant was held CXO positions at the head of quality and excellence function in various companies such as Taj Group of Hotels, Mashreq Bank, Dubai, Standard Chartered Bank, etc. And during his decade-long tenure with Kimpro Consultants and then with Indian affiliate of Juran Institute Incorporation USA also has a rich experience. Prashant is a life member of CAHO, has served as the member of the National Board for Quality Promotion at the Quality Council of India, New Delhi, Vice Chair Quality Management Division Global Asia and Australia at ASQ, USA, Chairperson Organizational Excellence Technical Committee at ASQ, Quality Management Division, USA, Member National Executive Committee of the CRM Academy of Asia, recognized 50th Most Talented Quality Professionals, citations at the World Congress, Quality Congress June 2014, and featured as one of the front runners in the Executive Focus column of Business India. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us, and over to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nishant. When you say all of that, it sounds almost scary.
I know.
I wonder how I accomplished all that, but thank you. I really appreciate your introducing me. It's a great honor to be a lead moderator and a speaker here at this panel discussion with all of you here. And the topic that we have today is going to be really engaging. As much as we're talking of employee engagement, it's really engaging, I'm pretty sure. I'd like to move on to introducing our esteemed panel right now. So if you could put on the, Dr. Geetika Madan, who is Vice President and Medical Director at the Parul University and Parul Sevashram Hospital, sorry, a proficient doctor and a medical director with a staunch commitment towards serving humanity and enhancing the scope of healthcare and developing the field of academia. A Vice President at Parul University, who has been developing and innovating effective administrative initiatives in the service to the university and Parul Sevashram Hospital, highly driven in research and extensively pursuing the search for new and novel solutions to enhance the scope of knowledge while raising humanity's standard of living. With a thirst for innovation, has founded an innovative digital healthcare platform called Total Health Solutions, a unique initiative that combines all health services in one place, almost like a one-stop shop. So welcome, Dr. Geetika, to this panel, and looking forward to discussing a whole lot of things with you.
Thank you so much, Prashant. A very good evening to all.
Thank you. The next panelist is Ms. Richa Singh Devgupta. Hello, Richa. Chief of Strategy,
Hi, Prashant.
Head ESG, and Business Head, CGK, Fortis Healthcare Limited, another large healthcare group in India, as we all know. As a healthcare leader, she demonstrates a strong understanding of the strategic and operational aspects of healthcare across, healthcare delivery in India. She is a keen learner, an able administrator, and a good people leader. So apt that you are here today then, who is, achievement oriented, and one brings energy and passion in her role and in her ideas that she provides to the management team in the company. She also was facilitated with the award as the Woman of Impact by FICCI Ladies Organization for 2023. Welcome, Risha. Welcome again. Dr. Arif Mahmood, our lone panelist from overseas, Bangladesh, Director Medical Services, Evercare Hospital, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Dr. Arif, an adorned hospital administrator for the last 26 years. He's currently holding the position of Director Medical Services at the Bangladesh operation of Eye Care Hospitals, which is the first and the only JCI accredited hospital in the country, as he mentioned a little before most of you connected. Dr. Arif is responsible for implementing clinical excellence, clinical governance, clinical risk reduction program across the hospital, plays a vital role in developing annual strategic plan, the business plan, capital items, requirement plan, pretty much a strategic role that he has. He's led major construction activities, service development activities, medical equipment utilization activities in the organization, committed to developing the human capital of the organization, and reflects mentor approach in his leadership style. So thank you again, Dr. Arif. You seem to be perfect to be here.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone.
Father George, PA, currently working as director at Holy Family Hospital in Delhi, very close to where I live in Gurgaon.
Oh.
So thank you, Father, for being here. Father believes in providing quality healthcare at an affordable cost, which is a challenge these days, but that's amazing. At Holy Family Hospital, he is determined to continue his steady efforts so that they can provide highly advanced, affordable medical care that is safe, secure, and caring in a manner that lives up to the expectations of patients and the wider community based on the ethics of medical care, medical science, and nursing as well. He served as associate director, Holy Family Hospital, and director, Nursing College, Holy Family Hospital as well. Thank you, Father, for being here, and looking forward to discussing with you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Venkatesh Thauti, did I pronounce your surname correctly, Venkatesh Thauti?
That's correct, Prashant. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Executive Officer, Ajara Hospitals, Warangal in Telangana, a state, Telangana, where healthcare is suddenly becoming so important, always more recently, even more. He's a leader with entrepreneurial bent of mind and an MBA from the Indian Institute of Management of Jaipur. Venkatesh has over 8 years of experience within the US life science and healthcare sector. His areas of expertise include contracting, gross to net modeling, business development, product conceptualization, campaign management, revenue forecasting, product management, process optimization, data management, fraud analytics. I mean, the works are pretty much, overall an all-rounder in many ways. So thank you very much for being here, Venkatesh, if I may call you that, and looking forward to interacting with you as well.
Thank you, Prashant.
Okay, so with that, what I'd like to do is, if Prakash lets me share a screen, do I need your permission to share?
Please share, sir.
Okay. What I'd like to do is to start the panel discussion with a few, to set a tone, to sort of share a few slides with all of you, and then we'll kick it off with the question answers that we will have for all of you. When I first was introduced to this, when we spoke about this topic, and we said we should have something really engaging and interesting, This topic came to mind because many of us keep thinking that patient experience and customers is comes first and so on. And-
Yeah.
Hold on,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Are you
Screen.
on the screen now?
Yeah. Now it's seen. Yeah.
Okay. We're working with an assumption actually that if we put all our focus on customers, that's patients, we'll be successful. Alone won't help. This is a good thing to say. These are all also good things to say, that we are here to serve the customer. We don't care. We don't take care of your customer. Your competitor will. Lots of gurus have said a lot of good things about why the customer is so important. None of this is false, by the way. None of this is untrue. All of this is true. However, what engages customers really and what drives organizational results? That's something that we need to think about. And that's what this whole topic is today. I wonder how many of you have read these books. One of them is in Indian. If you all haven't, please pick up this book immediately. It's available. It's called Employees First, Customers Second. He's turned around the entire model to say why it is so important that employees, if you don't look after, how much ever you can keep talking about from your terrace and till the cows come home, your customers will never be engaged consistently. The word here is consistently. Sporadically, they may be happy and go outside your hospital thinking, wow, this is a great place. And I would like, maybe, if at all something happens to me, this is the place I'll come back to. But to make that happen consistently, you need something more, you need to do something more, which is employees. Why is therefore employee engagement so important? Let's look at this context. There's some statistics I want to put on the table. 79% of organizations believe they have a significant retention and engagement problem. 77% do not feel they have the right HR skills to address the issue. Think about that. 75% are struggling to attract and recruit the top people they need. And only 17% feel they have a compelling and engaging employee engagement brand. Depressing as it may sound, if you flip the coin, it's an opportunity, isn't it? To grow that 17% by becoming a compelling and engaging employee engagement brand. So we have a huge opportunity sitting with us here. It's time to therefore do something about it, to get really engaged. It's time to get engaged and get our employees engaged. If you look at businesses and how they're changing today, there was a common thread between what successful organizations do. They are organizations that are rethinking and involving employees even in the creation of the vision, mission, culture, and values. The creation of it. I know of a company, 60,000 people, who sent an email communication to all staff across the entire country to say, what do you think the vision should be? Everyone contributed their version of the vision. And it was all compiled together. And guess what that will do to an employee if they find one word that he or she had contributed as part of the final vision statement, almost as if to say, hey, that word is the one that I gave and I contributed that to the company's vision. It sort of changes the entire dynamics of how employees look at their organization. Here's some statistics again. Studies show this, that there is a correlation between employee engagement and revenue and profit, 27% higher profit margins, operating margins. Employee engagement and employee turnover, 72% of highly engaged people say, even if I get a better offer, I will not go. I will stay with this organization. And 53% fewer days per year of lost productivity when you see the correlation between these two. Therefore, in my view, employee engagement is becoming probably the biggest competitive differentiator in businesses, very much including healthcare. The service profit sort of a chain or a correlation is becoming more and more important. Therefore, it only becomes that much more important towards customer satisfaction and also improves the quality of outcomes. An outcome highly dependent on the commitment, dedication, and skills of the staff who are enormously impacting the overall patient's experience. With that, I'll close my presentation, but I want to sort of take a couple of minutes more to sort of, share a story that I experienced myself, some time back. when I was sort of going on on an airline, and this is what really happened. This is about, therefore, an airline pilot. And I'm deliberately choosing a story from an airline because I want everyone to think beyond when look for best practices and benchmarking. It's called generic benchmarking. Think beyond your own industry. Sometimes one gets bogged down as to, no, but in our industry it doesn't work. But I think it's important that we look beyond. Here's an airline story. BAU, it happens all the time. But sometimes one has to do something that your job description does not require you to do. In fact, imagine what it would be if you do something that the person is not exactly supposed to do at all. This is a story about this airline pilot. We all know how paranoid airlines are about being punctual and how aggressively they compete with each other on securing the best on-time departure record. And employees are evaluated based on their ability to keep on schedule. Most airlines would penalize an employee for holding up a flight. This is a story, therefore, about a passenger who was on his way from a business trip to his daughter's home to see his 3-year-old grandson in a state of coma, who was being taken off the life support that evening so his organs could be used to save other lives. Let this sink in for a bit. If this passenger misses the flight, he will never be able to see his grandkid. They were all set to pull the plug on the grandkid. I can't even think about this. When I'm talking to you, I'm getting goose pimples. The passenger's wife had called the airline to arrange this last-minute ticket and arrange for this flight. And she had explained about the emergency that her husband was heading to the airport. But guess what happened? Traffic, long lines at the airport. The passenger reached the boarding gate several minutes after the plane was scheduled to depart and was shocked to find the pilot waiting for him. As the passenger rushed into the aircraft and profusely expressed his gratitude, he heard the reply from the pilot. "They can't go anywhere without me, sir. I wasn't going anywhere without you. Now relax and we'll get you there. And again, I'm so sorry for your loss." The pilot apparently was briefed on the passenger's story, and the pilot had decided not to take off without having distressed man on board. He was sensitive to the man's emergency and the cost of losing his job, had willingly decided to delay the flight. Fortunately for the pilot, his airline supported his decision and held his action as, in fact, exemplary. His decision has been personal and spur of the moment. But guess why he did that? He was driven by the company's credo, quote unquote, connect people to what's important in their lives. I repeat, connect people to what's important in their lives. A perfect alignment of values driving the loyalty. I'll stop here, but I just want you all to mull over this story as we kick off the panel discussion. Something very profound, I thought, and I must share this with you even before we kick in. Okay, so let's get on with the panel discussion then. And with my first question, goes to, I would like to put this question to Dr. Geetika. Okay. Can I call you Dr. Geetika?
Yes, of course. You can call me Geetika also. That's fine.
All right. So here's the question, Doctor. What have been some of the best people management practices that have helped your organization unleash performance, if you wish? And why were they so admired in the past, and are they still relevant today in today's times?
Right. So, Prashant, I feel the most important thing for an organization to have in its employees is ownership and accountability. That is what I believe. And I think we always evaluate the performances with something known as KPI, right? Key performance indicators. So since many years, I feel the definition of KPIs have changed from key performance indicators to keeping the people informed, interested, involved, and inspired. And this is around this, everything revolves. The strong induction, the strong retention of the employees, everything gets possible if the employees, the people working with you they feel interested. They are always involved in whatever is happening in the organization. So we always believe of sharing our vision with each and every employee in the organization and making them feel connected with it. If an employee feels that I am a part of the entire vision of the organization, they always feel that they are getting the due credits for whatever are the attainments of the organization. So, revolving the KPIs around keeping the people involved and interested in the organization, making them feel comfortable in the organization is something which we very strongly believe. Giving the due credits to the staff is something which we very strongly follow. As in some very short examples, if I tell you that we have these policies of publishing our creditable achievements and success stories. We do it almost every week. And we make sure that we don't just highlight, it's not just the hospital's name or the education institution's name. We highlight and put the name of the doctors, the staff who have worked to make sure that the success story has happened. So this is one of our, one initiative in which every staff feels that belongingness and that, that ownership for being able to do what the organization believes in. We make sure we publish this, we give this monthly champions awards. So we have a lot of champions categorization. So like we have a patient safety champion, we have a medical record champion, we have a hand hygiene champion, we have a lot of such championship categories. And we have a mechanism by which there is a grassroots level feedback which comes to the team, the admin team, which monitors. And every month we give these champion certifications to our staff. Also, we have, perform and progress policy. So anybody who is performing to a mark and beyond a certain mark, we make sure that he is able to career progress in his role. So we definitely try to promote whenever there is a new position, a higher position, we try to see that our internal staff gets promoted to that position rather than hiring somebody new from outside. So the staff always feel that I have prospects of career progression in the same educational or the same healthcare organization. So they feel safe, and they feel that we have a career progression happening in the same organization. So they don't keep looking for better roles and better job prospects outside. So there's an entire list. But I think, as you told, we have to be very crisp, and I'll be looking forward to other speakers talking about this. So this is something.
I mean, you rattled out a few things which are really good. Does this have to do with some of it coming from you all also having a university and some of that coming into the education aspects of HR?
So there is a lot of things which are given benefited. For example, we have a CHRD department across the university. It's the Center for Human Resource Department. So this department has a dedicated team of 10 people who are continuously, we have a lot of focus on induction. What I believe is, retention comes when the employees feel, comfortable in the initial 3 months. Maximum times we feel that attrition is in the initial months of joinings. So we give a lot of focus on induction. So initial 2 weeks of the joining of an employee is for induction. We make them aware about the policies, about the structure, about how it is going to differ from the earlier organization they were working. We try to make them, comfortable in the organization before they start working. Unless otherwise, many times it happens that employees start karta and they feel there is a lot of change. Where I work is very different. Here I will not be able to adapt, and then they just move away. So induction is something which we give a lot of focus on, and these CHRD departments, they do very frequent regular trainings on the basis of requirements of the particular cadre. For example, my doctors have a certain requirements, my paramedics have a certain requirement. On the basis of that, they devise customized training, and they have the customized way of conducting the training.
Wow.
Like, for example, we have the class 3, the paramedics and housekeeping staff of the hospital. They need to be trained in a different manner. We need to go to their level to understand them, understand their concerns of working in the organization, and then devise their trainings in that way. So this department takes care of the entire staff handholding and training schedules. So this helps a lot in retaining the staff, coming at the grassroots to their issues are being faced in the workplace, and then gradually, sorting them out. So there's a lot of integration between our university, educational organization, and the hospital. But yeah, healthcare organization, the hospital itself has its own way of dealing with things, which are somehow not exactly as per the university status.
Okay, that's amazing. I would also think, and if someone else wants to jump in here, in my view, recruitment and getting the right people, first of all, on board, the right person for the right job, and ensuring that we have, therefore, the job requirements, properly written as in the job description, etc., becomes so vital. And we sometimes, in the pressure to get some bums on seats, as they say, because there's the front office is vacant, there's been attrition, for example, or accounts is vacant, there's no one there, somehow get those people back, because how else will front office run? You tend to get people in a hurry without really looking at how important recruitment therefore gets. Anyone else wants to jump in here on this to respond to this one?
Prashant,
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll share my perspective. I'll add what Dr. Geetika has just mentioned.
Yeah.
This is slightly from our tier 2 city, how we operate and the challenges that we face and some of the steps that we take to keep them engaged. Our hospital, this is a 350-bed hospital, and we primarily operate in tier 2 cities, with Warangal being the first hospital. So what we've noticed is the kind of dynamics that play in here are slightly different. The existing, the traditional HR techniques, or those models may not work here. So we have to customize them. And what I've discovered during this 3 years journey that I've associated with this hospital is we have to win the trust of employees. That's number one. That goes without saying, but I've experienced the kind of impact it shows on the overall output of the services that they render. And then at a management level, during our board meetings, we make a conscious effort to discuss the employees' well-being or their engagement levels or their performance reviews. And we made a decision to delink their KPIs with their incentives. Incentives will be given based on the overall revenue, and their departmental level KPIs are kept separate, because there is no added burden or added pressure on them that is linked because of this revenue that is linked to it. And the other step that we did is we make at all the directors and all of us, we use every opportunity to highlight how important they are and how what is the level of impact and what kind of impression that they leave on the patient services and the overall satisfaction scores. These two things are helping us a lot. We are not a big paymasters considering the other hospitals within the city, but this kind of culture that we are fostering in the organization is really helping us a lot. Now we have 3 to 4 other major corporate hospitals, right? Northeast, west, south, within a radius of 2 kilometers, but still we are able to manage, retain good talent with this.
That's amazing. I mean, amazing. And thanks for sharing that, because I think there are several people from tier 2 cities who will benefit from what you said just now. Thank you. Thank you, Venkatesh. Moving on, I'd like to also understand from
sorry, Prashant, I'm Dr. Shweta here, but I really want to appreciate what you wanted. It's actually you've nailed it. The recruitment process is very important.
Right.
And it is indeed one has to look into, right, because at times you have to compromise with that, considering the the vacant positions to be filled in. Yeah. It does take a backseat, the job description or the specification.
Yep. Thank you. Richa, this question is to you, and the question is about, you broadly have actually clubbed you sort of casted the question into 3 categories: some questions from the past, some present, and also some questions which has a futuristic perspective. So this is a little bit about the past and not the best times that I'm talking about. What are the changes observed post-COVID in people management practices and people's expectations, if you wish? Have you seen any change pre and post-COVID?
Yeah, so Prashant, as you said that, we're not only looking at the healthcare, but we are looking at the wider industry. So right. I think we have been hearing a lot from the other industries, right? That the ways of working have changed, the way people have been working in past. And now, post-pandemic, when we talk about it is pretty much different. But when I talk about healthcare, I think, that the one sector which worked anyways 24/7 during COVID and much more was healthcare. right?
Okay.
But then few things which I'm observing, because see, it always have a rub-on effect, isn't it? I mean, and not necessarily today, as Shweta was alluding to, that, you know, if one difficulty we talk about in terms of manpower, getting the people is difficult. So we are seeing that a lot of people from different industries, not only off clinical area, but also within the hospital, are from the different sectors. Like, you know, you talk about hospitality, you talk about retail when you're talking about sales. So what we have observed is, one is that people are looking for more flexibility.
Okay.
Right. So earlier, which may not be there, but now people are looking for flexibility. Second thing I would talk about is that we never thought about part-timers, right? For our customer care, can we have people, can we have mothers, you know, who have off hours during the afternoons, and can they come, right? So these are the areas which I won't say that we have been able to implement it, but we have started to debate it. Can we look at those, right? Now, one thing which I would talk about is the DEI, you know, your diversity, equity, and inclusion. So somewhere, I think that's, I won't say it's particularly from post-COVID thing, but then people are getting very aware of that, right? Because this is being talked about across other industries. So that's coming into healthcare as well.
Okay.
Right? In terms of parity of pay, in terms of how a woman should be kind of given a little more equity, in terms of whether, again, we talk about primarily, you know, the gender division comes in during, you know, like when the woman is in her reproductive active age. So those are the things wherein we are kind of bringing a lot of changes now, because that's what people expect. So that's what I would say.
Okay. And some of the things that you mentioned about flexibility and so on, it's you know, maybe Venkatesh or you know, the father, maybe you can take this question. Related to this question that I asked Richa just now. While it may sound very weird that I'm asking this question in a healthcare environment, work from home seems to have become the in vogue thing these days, right? In most other industries. While I know a doctor can't be working from home and the patient in the hospital, but do you see some of these new normals impact the healthcare industry, especially maybe in the non-clinical areas, if you wish? For example, I would challenge to say, why do all the finance people or the purchase people or HR people have to sit in the hospital? Why can't they have a hybrid model, work from home, and also on specific days come to work maybe? Your thoughts on this, Father?
Me or Father Johnson?
Oh, you, Father George.
Okay, okay. There are two fathers, so that's and I feel the hospital is a service. I don't think we have all gone through very tough time. I couldn't even think of any department which I could tell them that, okay, even for safety purpose, you remain at home and will not. But I must say that though it's clinical department, even support department, all of them are on their toes. There was no department which I could think of that where I could say that, okay, you can work from home. I don't think it's practical for our service area. Be it's kind of finance department, we never knew, because what comes up first, you know, even the purchase department. And when you have people in your team with you, then you have a kind of a level of confidence very high. You know, you have a team, be it's a kind of HR department, we need to recruit people, we need to get people on board. So you know, though everything is available, technology so advanced, when you have a team, I can call an emergency meeting of my purchase manager. I say that this is a list of things I need by 4 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
But if he's sitting at home, it's like I have to go after him. I have to find out where is he. Though the support departments where we can say primarily not clinical areas, the HR department, the finance, and the other things, all of them I would say that they were 24/7 ready, means active. So keeping them away, because all of us are linked.
Right.
Those were in the forefront at the same time. Those were the backstage people also are, or that we will say that all aligned in the same way. They may not be visible to the the service which you do, but I would say that all have to be aligned in the same manner. And there could not be a kind of, okay, they can be kind of given a leverage of work from home. That
Okay.
I couldn't do that. We didn't experience that.
Okay. Any other panelists would take this?
Yes, so
Because
I think,
Yeah.
I tend to think
So
maybe
I
that
would
is
like to
normal.
interrupt here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, sorry.
Go ahead, Arif. Go ahead.
So what
Please.
father has said, thank you. So I am listening. What father has said, I fully agree with him because after the post-COVID situation, a lot of organizations are doing the home office. It is might be possible in the bank, might be the engineering sector, other GS sector, but in the healthcare, the people need the patient human touch, and this human touch is not only made by the doctors, nurses, or technicians. They are supported by this admin, finance, and human resource department, and they are doing the office from the home. The problem is like that. So sometimes something scarcity can arise any point of time, and the doctor will call, the consultant will call to you as a CEO or medical director. And that time, if I look to find out the supply chain guy where is doing the office, whether in the office or not at home, so connectivity, getting the things. So and
Okay.
there is a conflict also at some point of time. I have
So you're
seen
agreeing
like
with Father Madhu.
healthcare
You're agreeing
work
with Father.
7 days in a week.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So sorry
So
to interrupt.
once
You
upon
agree
a
with
time,
Father. I wanted someone who has a slightly different point of view. Anyone who has a different point of view?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
different.
Go ahead, Geetika. I'll add on later.
Yes, so not different point of view, definitely a personal contact, it's very important. But I'll say that during COVID, we all learned to embrace technology and the digital transformation more than ever. So not in most of the areas like emergencies and all, but teleconsultations, the digital health, e-health platforms were accepted quite well during the COVID period, and we are seeing a bounce over of that, and there is much better acceptance of the doctors, of the people, if we talk about digital healthcare now. Similarly, there are a lot of things which can happen in a hospital without a physical contact, as in like we are having a discussion right now. So a lot of our interviews, our HR practices, a lot of interactions with people do happen online, which we were not doing earlier. I mean, COVID taught us that how we can complement our practices with the help of the digital, the digital world, the technology, the online platforms, the learning platforms which are available, and definitely a lot of integration of digital things have happened. Like we have recently gone paperless in our hospital, and we have removed all the IPD patient files. Now that is helping in a great manner, in the sense my doctor who's sitting at home gets everything which is happening in the case file in the hospital on his mobile now. So this digital acceptance came at the time of COVID, I can say, and it left a mark on us that how, this can complement in improving our processes and in making our operations better and making them more effective. So that was the time when I decided that in 2 years from now, we are going digital, and everybody needs to have on one platform. So right now on this PC, I have all the 500 patient files in this PC. So, all the audits and everything is happening in one audit office, and all the doctors are able to see what is happening in a real-time manner. So this digital transformation has happened in COVID, which is really helpful. Is that it's complementing? That is what I feel.
Okay. Dr. Shweta, you wanted to jump in for something? Yeah.
No, I think so. Dr. Geetika has added on, but definitely we can look into the administrative, non-medical, departments where in finance, L&D department, there are some portion of HR can function from, work from home. And as, Richa was adding up the flexibility, that is a department, or that's a section of in the healthcare where we can, provide flexibility, and we can also with other industries we can be kind of equate us that in terms of flexibility in healthcare, where it is currently we see we have our fellow participants saying that it's not possible, but there is always a change which we need to bring in, and we need to adapt because the world is adapting to this new change, the new normal which is there.
I guess it depends on city to city technological availability or no, tier 1, tier 2, all of those, I think. So yeah, that's a great discussion. Thank you for that. Moving on, let's move to one particular key part of the title of this whole panel discussion: hidden potential of employees. So Venkatesh, this is to you. How do you understand the hidden potential of employees beyond just the standard HR techniques? we all know that there is always some potential, right, in employees that doesn't come out, not very apparent, but sometimes some particular incident that happens in the organization brings it out. But unless there is a process to even something like this, I believe they can never be captured and understood. Any thoughts on that?
To begin the answer, I think it is say that it's difficult to identify such hidden potentials unless you are very you have people and process in place to identify such people. What we do at Hazara is we make an attempt to have 15-minute Scrum meetings. Usually, the Scrum concept is more familiar or more prevalent in IT industry, but here, we being 300 people and working in different departments, we have this process of having Scrum meetings. And these Scrum meetings do not go beyond 15 minutes. We just discuss what's happening. What's happening. They're called Scrum meetings. Scrum meetings. Just called Scrum meetings. Only 15 minutes, and people, everyone, including the department head, everyone can voice in, that they can give their feedback and discuss. Not more than 15 minutes. So it doesn't have a specific agenda per se, but that's a platform other than the regular monthly meetings or the other meetings for everyone to jump in and share their ideas. So we see these discussions that we have with individual departments at times helps me in identifying certain special skill set, or if I need to deploy a person for such and such job, I pick people, and these meetings help me finding people for this.
Okay. Interesting.
So in addition to that, what Venkatesh said. Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
Prakash. So what Venkatesh said, in addition to that, to identify this hidden talent, it is rather than nature, I put onto the individual departmental involvement, like medical services, operation, nursing.
We'll move on because
I would like to add a few points to that.
Yeah.
There are two major factors that I believe will is key to bring out the hidden the potential of employees. First one is empowerment, and second one is trust. When we give empowerment, there are certain times when we know that they may not be taking certain right decisions.
Right.
But that we should be giving an empowerment in a phased manner, so that the small mistakes do not affect the big picture.
Okay.
And then go ahead and start empowering people, and then probably you will find that the people who have mettle, they will always shine, and that will always give you a feedback where you can empower them more, and then that brings out the talent or the potential of the individual. The second one is the trust. When you are employing a person, you should look into these factors, whether that person is trustworthy or not. And when you are satisfied, you should not be half-hearted in giving that trust.
Right.
So I think these are two things which are very, very key in identifying.
Major. That was major, right? That was major, Dr. Shivkumar?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on to another question, which I think, Geetika, back to you. How do you measure employee engagement? Do you have surveys? Are there more creative ways of measuring it?
So we have biannual appraisals in which we have a self-appraisal, and which is validated by a committee. As in, for example, the nursing appraisals will be self-appraisals in which we have a standard questionnaire and a form in which there are a lot of parameters which measure their, their commitment, their discipline, their timeliness, their engagement in terms of attending several trainings inside the hospital, outside the hospitals, how much they have worked on themselves to capacity build themselves. And there are a lot of parameters. So these self-appraisals, they come to a team and they are validated by this team, and the final remarks are put. So that is how we analyze, it relates to the hidden potential and unleashing their capacities also. So on the basis of these standardized and organized way of appraisals, we get to know that whom to promote, how to decide our increments are also based on that. And we are also able to know that how much the employee is engaging in the organization and, how he or she is contributing to the organization.
Okay, that's interesting. The reason I ask this question is, from some of the experience that I have, there are these standard templates that are provided by HR and the likes. And I have a problem with that in the sense that sometimes we ask those standard questions used in standard templates, and we feel good when we get some great scores. But guess what? My point is maybe we've asked the wrong questions. How do
Yes.
you know that those were the questions to be asked in the first place? Have you stopped to think, have I actually identified the drivers of employee engagement from one hospital to the other? In my own experience in Max Healthcare, there were different drivers of employee engagement from one hospital unit to another hospital. They weren't chalk and cheese, of course. They were slightly different, but they were different. Now, imagine I were to use the same template for all 14, 15 hospitals, get some fabulous scores, tell the board, oh, our employees are fabulously engaged. But guess what? When you really talk to them, they don't look engaged at all. Now, that's where I was coming from. Well, that's an interesting perspective you're giving of a self-appraisal and so on.
So
Any
these
other?
these are different appraisals. They are very different for a doctor. They are very different for a medical teacher. They're very different for my office staff, and they're different for a nurse. And
Okay.
we also have interaction and we also have, MCQs. We do have MCQs biannually to make sure that they're keeping themselves updated also. There are a lot of medical field and profession is always evolving. So they have to be customized as per the job role. And this cannot be a standardized HR tool, which can, which can judge that how the employee is engaged on the base of that standard tool. So it has to be as per the geography, as per the nature of your hospital, as per the nature of the job description of that employee. So it's all has to be customized as per your own thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's important, I guess. Father George, to you. There's always this challenge about what is more important, bed occupancy level or patient satisfaction. We also have to make a little bit of revenue, right? And of course, also have to keep our patients satisfied. How do you balance and align people? What do you actually do to make sure that this balance doesn't go off? Any thoughts on that, Father?
See, these both were the both two sides of the same coin, I would say. Like if you have got a very good, satisfied patients, definitely the revenue comes along with that. You don't have to bother about that. And what I would say is that see, each and everything, the small thing which is we now when the healthcare service is going through a big transition, which we see, like for example, like Holy Family being 70 years in Delhi, we almost come 70 years, and when we began 1953. So now 70 years in. So when I look into or interact with the people from across the city, everyone looks for a specialization, super specialization, So what I see is that when you attend to, I'm talking from the point of view of the patient satisfaction, they would like to be attended very personally, individually. One of those days when you could say that people would just come, anyone comes, but the moment someone walks into your hospital, if there is somebody, personal attention is given, that itself brings in a lot of confidence in the patient. So your level of patient satisfaction begins from there. So, and that gets carried forward to whatever you do, as long as the patient is with you, and as long as you are kind of caring for them, that starts from there. So automatically, what I feel is that patient satisfaction is more important. And there are various ways now, as designed a lot of things like say self-appraisal, and where benchmarks are there, where various parameters are there, as to even all of us are now various tools we are using to have a, for example, here we have a kind of monthly PSI, what we call patient satisfaction index, which we kind of go through every month when you have a meeting with the head of departments.
Okay.
We present it to the each department, and we look into this, that where we have lagged behind. We compare month to month. So the benchmarks keeps improving. So that's where we feel that there are a lot of things which you can do for the patient who comes, and there is never kind of say that we have reached this, now we are perfect, and now each of our department is now reached a kind of level that now tomorrow we can say that okay, now all those patients are going to come into the hospital tomorrow, they are going to go back very happy or satisfied. So there is never a dull moment for us, when all of us. So I would say always the patient satisfaction is something very very dynamic, that goes to the level as much we can do for them.
Right.
So the care
to say, if patients are satisfied, revenue will come on its own. I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. It will come. I mean, that's the focus, and somewhere along the line, of course, if your employees are also engaged and so on, they make sure that the patients are satisfied, and God willing, when they want to come next time, they choose your hospital and they come again to you. That's for the customer loyalty, I guess. So yeah, it's a good one. Okay, moving on. Now let's move to the future. Okay. This question
regarding Prakash, Prashant.
Yes, Arif, go ahead.
Regarding the patient satisfaction, you're saying, well, we agree on the point, but staff satisfaction is more important, because if the staff is not satisfied, or if the staff is not accountable, so they cannot provide the best services to the patient. It might be the doctor, it might be the nurses, it might be housekeeping, even a security. If patient is satisfied with the surgeons after gallbladder surgery, he'll go home by the 2 days. The surgeon did a fabulous job, nurses was very good, but porter, when taking the patient from the hospital, something happened that time. That can make the patient unhappy. So for this reason, it is very critical in the healthcare setup. Okay. Sometimes people are considering our hospital with the hotel or other businesses. But here, tricks are here, because patient came to the hospital with the pain. So that time behavior is very real, critical here, because they cannot perceive everything very good. But when you go to a hotel, or when you go to buy a laptop or mobile, we have a perceived conception that we are going.
Yeah, interesting point. When you look at especially in IP, inpatient patient person is there. If the person is in the hospital for 6 days for whatever reason, the first 4 days first 3 days he's a patient. The next 3 days he's a guest. Think about that. Because now in those first 3 days he's okay. The operation has become successful and he's starting to feel better. The next 3 days he's now become a guest. He's not a patient anymore. And that's when all his other issues start coming out, to say the food is not good, nursing quality is not good. Before the first 3 days, he wasn't probably even able to speak. But now suddenly all the other things start becoming important. So it's a balance between the two. How do you strike that balance is key in healthcare, if you ask me. The more I think about it, I'm convinced that there has to be a balance. Okay, let's move to the future. Okay, and this question is to Richa. What, according to you, Richa, would be the top 3 challenges in healthcare in, say, 2025 with respect to employees and/or patient experience? And if you'll have given some thought to it, what are you doing? How are you working towards overcoming them?
Okay. So, Prashant, if you ask me, we are already sitting in 2023. So it's not too far that we're talking about, right? Sorry, I lost the...
Yes, go ahead. Yes. We
can
hear you.
So it's just the 2 years that we're talking about. So I'll tell you that those problems are still there. We need to just find the solution, being innovative, right? So first and foremost, if I tell you that today the world has become completely digital, right? And the patient is expecting that if I can book my movie ticket sitting at home, why do I need to kind of go to the hospital to get an appointment, or why should I keep calling up the call center to get an appointment? Why can't it just be on the click of the button? Right? And very simple, that what solution do you need to have? That you have to compete with the technology, you have to kind of be there. So most of the hospitals, and I'm glad that it's not only for the larger set of hospitals, which are large chain of hospitals, even standalone hospitals in tier 2 cities have got their apps made, wherein on the click of the button, you can get the appointment. So we have been talking about these 3 A's, affordability, accessibility, and all of that. So accessibility now has actually taken the term of at least where the big hospitals or the hospitals are available in the cities. So accessibility now has become actually the convenience. So that's the one point I would say. So adapting to the technology is not an option, it's a must. Okay, so most of the hospitals today you would see, and you look at our budget, healthcare budget. So the growth actually, wherein you need to open up more primary center, you need to open up more hospitals, have got minuscule growth, right, as compared to what it was last year. But when we talk about the digital health, right, there is almost, if I'm not missing the percentage, it's almost 70% growth on the digital technology, this thing for healthcare. So that talks a lot about how it's going to be. Second thing is, I would talk about the patient is going to be more and more demanding, right? And in terms of patient expectation, if you ask me, that very simple, they want their opinion to be heard. They don't want unidirectional assessment and unidirectional decision to be taken even by the clinical team. Forget aside the service team, right? So if there is something, I need to know that there are 3 options or 3 ways of treating it. They want to have this balance that what suits me. So see, it's like for a family, if I'm an 87-year-old gentleman, should I be going for a knee replacement or should I just kind of leave that, right? Even for the heart ailment, should I be opting for a surgery or I still want to go for 3 stents? Don't force me for that. I want to take a decision. So patient's opinion matters. They want to be heard. They want to be part of your decision-making thing. So these immediately comes to my mind. So these are things that we're looking at it. And in terms of manpower, so see, I'll tell you, somewhere people start worrying when we talk about the centralized pool. So a lot of our backend services like finance and all that, we are creating a central pool wherein the payment and everything can happen from one place instead of, Calcutta, Delhi, Bombay, and all of that. These are the ways, you make it more cost efficient. So people actually get worried that, am I going to get redundant? Are they going to get rid of people? Now talk about EMR. People start to wonder that if the electronic medical record comes in, am I going to lose job as a medical transcriptionist? Okay, nothing is going to happen. What we need to realize is that we are anyways, half of the population of healthcare worker than what it is needed, right? Technology is here just to enable us. So in terms of third thing, if you ask me what are the problem I see, the shortage of manpower will still continue, and that needs to be fulfilled by more and more automation.
Right. Coming to that, therefore, and thanks for that that queuing in for me, Richa. I think this probably is the last question because we are running out of time. It's a little over six in fact. Venkatesh, this is to you. Given so much of technology that's coming into the healthcare space, I know you are in a tier 2 city, but you're also growing pretty soon, as you yourself said, into the next 2, 3, or 4 corporate hospitals. Sooner than later, digital transformation, call it AI, ML, and so on, that's all coming in very, very rapidly, even in the healthcare space, I understand. How will that impact employee engagement and therefore overall performance of the hospital, the results, by business results, and so on? Venkatesh, you there? Okay. Geetika, do you want to take that question?
I think, Prashant, I put forward my point, and I'm very much, in favor of adapting technology. So in the university, we do have an AI department here. We have a machine learning department in our engineering institute. So we do have, what we are doing right now is we do have a think tank series of sessions with our healthcare practitioners. And they are sharing their issues right now with my R&D team from engineering. And we are trying to set up a local innovation ecosystem by which we are trying to sort out their problems with the help of a lot of technology-driven things. So as I told that we are building a lot of apps which can empower us get real-time analysis of a lot of operations and processes. We have gone digital and paperless with the help of which, and the employees are really enjoying it. So as initially, as mentioned in the starting, if you keep them aligned with the vision. So in the starting of this year, we declared that this year is going to be a year of technology for us, and we are going digital, we are going paperless. So all of them are waiting to see what's happening. And when we went paperless and we floated this digital initiative, they were all ready to embrace it. And they are happily learning everything, and they are now, after 2-3 months of this initiative, they are realizing that how it is helping them in their routine operations also. So with the technology, it always happens that in the initial time there is a lot of reluctance, because we feel it's an additional burden on us and it's going to take away our jobs and all. But eventually, I feel all of us are realizing that those all are complementary. A lot of wearable devices, a lot of machine learning into our basic machines like ECG. We have a lot of pocket ECGs here, which give reading on the mobiles to the doctors. So we are trying to put in a lot of machine learning algorithms in our routine system, with the help of which the doctors are able to get the real-time analysis and things on the basic machines at least. And a lot of AI-based configurations we are doing into our systems. And I can tell you very confidently that in the next 2-3 years, everybody is going to embrace and adapt it happily. And because we have to move the way the world is moving, as correctly mentioned by others, there is a lot of budget on it. The Prime Minister himself has launched the digital health mission, right? So in ABDM now, all the patient records are going through this ABHA ID to the ABDM, and all our HMICs and the EMR records eventually have to get there. So if we don't start, then at the end, if we start doing it at late, it will be very difficult. So this is the correct time to start doing all of it, and making the employees understand the value and make them feel secure about it, that this is just to complement to their services.
Father, I know it's time up, but I'm tempted to ask Father George one last question in a very simplified way. Technology is impacting healthcare, and also, for example, if I have an ailment of any kind, the first instrument I use is my mobile, and go and surf the internet to find out my own solutions, and come so much more educated to you as a clinician, that the clinician starts wondering, this person, what do I tell him now? He seems to know everything I know, and now he's challenging my experience. How is all this being addressed in the healthcare world? What are your thoughts on that?
Now, of course, the technology is a great evolution, as Dr. Geetika was mentioning, and all the panelists, all of them mentioned about that. So we are going through a big transition. AI is the thing which is now that we talked about across the world, irrespective of whatever service, whatever industry, or whatever area you are working. The AI is the thing which is coming into capture the whole universe, whole world. Above the sky and under the sky, AI is there. So we are also part of that whole system. But I would say, in one single word, nothing can replace the human touch. Nothing can replace the human touch. We have all the latest equipment, the technology. But at the end of the day, what I see is that when a patient comes and meets a doctor, if a doctor, the same that has a kind of a very human and personal touch, then he is a half he is cured. Technology comes as a kind of addition to the diagnosis and the investigations, but still I believe the people still believe in that human touch, and that's what we all look up to, the great doctors, the nurses, because nothing can replace that human touch. When a person comes to, you see now, all lot of analysis we do about, let's say when a patient walks into a OPD, how many minutes a doctor takes or needs to diagnose or go through the, so everything is digital now. We say that it's in your palm, you just go through, click the button of let the patient name Prashant came. So as a technology, as a consultant, I may have everything on my screen. But if I don't examine you, if I don't talk to you, I say, okay, I know everything about you. Your the RBS is this, your BP is this, and you say you just prescribe a medicine and send him away. I don't think that is the future of the medicine. I would say still remain the human touch. Let's still remain the
That's
human
a good
touch. That
way-
is what.
good way to put that, Father. Thanks for that. That actually is a good way of closing the discussion as well. At the end of the day, human touch and therefore employees being hugely engaged becomes so important for overall patient satisfaction and experience, and therefore higher in performance and business results and so on. I think it's been a fabulous discussion. I've learned a lot from all of you. Hopefully there are several questions and remarks that are coming in the chat room as well. I don't think we'll be able to answer all those questions, but I think CAHO will compile all of that, and maybe if there's a way to respond to that, that'd be a great idea. At least 30 remarks, observations, and questions that I can see up there, or maybe even more. And I think it'd be a good idea to compile all of that and respond. Over to CAHO.
Yes, very inspiring, lot of insights. We want to continue this discussion even outside the CXO meet. Dr. Vijay, are you there? Any concluding remark? And then we will go to Dr. Ramesh for the vote of thanks. Dr. Vijay, any final comments?
No, it was a excellent discussion, and I was listening to it. Absolutely fantastic. And I think this is a kind of a topic that needs to probably be continued in some way. So maybe Prashant, if you can write maybe like a white paper as to the thoughts as of now, because anyway, the whole idea of retaining employees are going to be different for each hospital, as you all pointed out. But I think a lot of good points have been raised. They should be captured so that the hospitals can learn as to what is it, right from recruitment to evaluation to reward, and then to use technology and the human touch. So all the things, what does and where, and how do we achieve all that? So I think a fantastic session, and I think has been useful to all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, now over to Dr. Ramesh for vote of thanks.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Ramesh Babu. First, I would like to thank Dr. Mr. Prashant Hoskote, who has opened up a topic called Unlock Hidden Potential, Engaged Employees Can Unleash Performance. That is a wonderful topic. And I thank Mr. Prashant Hoskote for doing great work in compiling all these programs. And I would like to make a special thanks to all the panelists, Dr. Geetika from Parul Hospitals, who spoke very much on the ownership and responsibility. She was talking about induction and the retention programs, and she was also talking about the levels of training. Thank you, Dr. Geetika from Parul Hospitals. Then thanks to Mrs. Richa Singh Gupta from Fortis. Again, she spoke well on the post-COVID situation, and she said about the flexibility and the part timings. Thank you very much, Mrs. Richa. And thanks to Dr. Arif Mohammed from Bangladesh, who, in spite of his traveling, took part in all the activities. And thank you very much for him. And special thanks to Mr. Venkatesh Tauti, who gave excellent ideas on the hidden talents of the employees. And definitely I would like to, last but not the least, to Father George from Family Hospital, Delhi, who spoke very well on the particular service industry. And I'd like to fully agree with him, because in my experience of about 35 years in healthcare industry, I can tell that previously, that was 20, 30 years back, it was personal touch. But today, it is 50% technical and 50% personal touch. Because as other industries, we cannot work from home. Because we need a personal touch, a patient needs a personal touch, and hospitals which have combined this 50-50 formula for technical as well as personal touch have succeeded, and hospitals which have relied too much on the technicalities failed. This is what my observation is. And I would like to say that employees, the gist of the entire program was employees, how to take care of the employees. Because most of the organizations fail because they don't take care of the employees. they attach too much of importance to customers, because since you have to take, a management cannot take care of all its customers, maybe thousands and thousands, but the employees maybe hardly 200, 300. So this dictum says, take care of your internal customers who are employees. They will certainly take care of your external customers. So thank you very much, CAHO, Dr. Vijay Agarwal, Dr. Lalu Joseph, Dr. Mr. Samir Mehta, and all the secretariat people, including Prakash, and all the participants who have done a wonderful job in participating such a marvelous program. Thank you. Thank you very much, Father Johnson.
Okay, wish you all a great evening.
Great evening.
Hope
Thank
to see
you.
you again.
Thank you. Thanks. Great to be
Thank you.
connected.
Bye-bye.
Thank
All
you.
of you.
Really
Great.
appreciate it. Thank you.